On today's podcast, we're going to discuss finding safety and recognizing opportunities to improve it as well. So stay tuned. Welcome to Warehouse Safety Tips. You can find the show notes to each episode, links to information mentioned on the podcast, the social media platforms we're on, and anything else related to the podcast at warehousesafetytips.com. Now, if you're a seasoned podcast listener, this podcast is going to be different from most you listen to. It's based around exactly what the name implies, warehouse safety tips. And since the people in this industry are busy, we know that time is money and each episode will be as short and to the point as possible. And now, with all of that out of the way, let's get to the podcast. Did you ever go on a scavenger hunt as a kid? There's a good chance you may have taken part in one as an adult as well. Regardless, if you have, you know how much fun they can be. And whether you have or haven't been part of one, the rules are pretty easy to understand. Those participating either work individually or are assigned to work within a team. An organizer creates a list of items that must be found. Sometimes they know those items exist, but other times they might be totally random. The participants are then told that they have a certain amount of time to go out and gather these items. The individual or team that comes back with the most verified items from the list wins. And with today's technology, verification is usually done with a picture or a video taken from a smartphone. Before moving on, here's a word from one of our sponsors. If you've ever been to or worked in a warehouse, you know just how important safety is to both management and staff. It's almost impossible to go 10 steps without seeing safety tape, angles, signs, and/or safety products. It's these items that show us how to be safe and avoid danger in the workplace. And if you're looking for the best products to make this happen, look no further than Mighty Line. Mighty Line floor signs and floor markings offer the best industrial products out there. We're proud to have Mighty Line as the official floor sign and floor marking company for the Warehouse Safety Tips podcast and site. Go to mightylinetape.com/safety tips to request a sample pack of their incredible safety signs and floor markings. Now back to the podcast. In the first part of our podcast, we spoke about scavenger hunts and the rules that you use while participating in one. Now you might be thinking, I love that trip down memory lane, but what does it have to do with work and specifically with safety? Well, have you ever heard of one of those retreats where businesses send their executives to, and instead of a work environment, everything is based off of play? They don't just sit around a wood or a glass table in ergonomic chairs, but instead they sit around in circles and groups in large bean bags. There are no clocks. Instead, time is measured by songs on a jukebox. And instead of suits and dresses, the executives wear shirts and sweats. Why? To break their state, to make them think differently, to color outside of the lines. And here's the thing, you don't have to travel to an expensive retreat to make safety fun. You can accomplish it with a good old scavenger hunt. Now think of all the versions that you could come up to improve safety in your facility. I'll help you with a few just to get started. In one version, you could send people out in search of as many instances of safety as they could record. In another, you could have them take pictures of situations where they think safety could be better or where safety wasn't being recognized at all. Not to punish, but to improve. In previous podcasts, we discussed the importance of getting out of the office and into the facility. Not only is it better than a stuffy meeting, but a good old scavenger hunt will allow you to see the good, bad, and opportunities that are available with safety. We hope you have fun, and most of all, keep your staff and facility safer than ever. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Warehouse Safety Tips. If you visit warehousesafetytips.com, you'll find the show notes for this episode and access to all of our blog posts, previous podcasts, advertiser information, and much more. Thank you for listening to Warehouse Safety Tips and have a safe day.